"Here," said my father, handing me a small ivory flute. "Take this and don't forget your old father when you're entertaining people in foreign lands with your playing. It is now high time for you to see the world and gain knowledge. I had this flute made for you because you don't like any other kind of work and always just want to sing. Only be sure always to choose bright, cheery songs, otherwise it would be a pity about the gift God has given you." My dear father understood little about music. He was a scholar. He thought all I had to do was blow into the pretty little flute, and that would be that. I did not wish to undeceive him, and so I gave him my thanks, put the flute in my pocket, and took my departure. Our valley was familiar to me only as far as the big farm mill, and so beyond that the world began, and it pleased me greatly. A bee, tired from flying about, had lighted on my sleeve. I took her with me so that later on, at my first resting place, I would have a message ready to send back home with my greetings. Woods and meadows accompanied me on my way, and the river ran merrily beside me. I saw that the world was little different from my home. The trees and flowers, the ears of corn, and the hazel bushes spoke to me. I sang their songs with them, and they understood me just as at home. The singing awakened my bee. She crept slowly up to my shoulder, flew off, and circled twice around me with a deep, sweet buzzing, then steered straight as an arrow back towards home. Presently, a young girl came strolling out of the woods, carrying a basket on her arm, and wearing a broad shade hat of straw on her blonde head. "Grüß Gott," I said to her. "Where are you off to?" "I'm taking the harvesters their dinner," she said, walking beside me. "And where are you going today?" "I'm going out into the world. My father sent me. He thinks I ought to give concerts on the flute, but I don't really know how. I shall have to learn first." "Well now, what can you really do? Everyone has to be able to do something after all." "Nothing special. I can sing songs." "What kind of songs do you sing?" "You know, all kinds of songs. For the morning and the evening, and for all the trees and the animals and flowers. Now, for example, I could sing a pretty song about a young girl coming out of the woods and taking the harvesters their dinner." "Could you really? Then go ahead and sing it." "Yes, but what's your name?" "Brigitte." Then I sang a song about the beautiful Brigitte in her straw hat, and what she had in her basket, and how all the flowers stared at her, and the blue bindweed in the garden hedge reached out after her, and all the other particulars. She paid strict attention and said it was good. And when I told her I was hungry, she raised the lid of her basket and got out a piece of bread. I took a bite of it, continuing to walk rapidly, and she said, "You mustn't run while you're eating, one thing after the other." And so we sat down in the grass, and I ate my bread, and she clasped her brown hands around her knees and looked at me.